And I thought to myself, I'm done with this. It was that small little shift that clicked in me.
Welcome to the Manders Mindset Podcast. Here you'll find both monologue and interviews of entrepreneurs, coaches, healers, and a variety of other people, where your host Amanda Russo will discuss her own mindset and perspective and her guest mindset and perspective on the world around us. Manders and her guests will help explain to you how shifting your mindset will shift your life.
Welcome to Amanda's Mindset. As always, I'm your host, Amanda Russo, aka the Breathing Goddess. And I am here today to talk to y'all about something I didn't expect to be recording a podcast on, if I'm being honest. I also thought I had shared this whole story, but it was brought to my attention that I haven't. So today, I'm going to share with you the untold story of my fitness journey and the whole truth behind my backstory of that. It was brought to my attention recently when I received a Facebook message from an old high school acquaintance telling me how she respected my mindset and how different I am than I was in high school, which, if you knew me then, is very true. And she asked me something that my ego was a little taken aback by, because I was under the impression I had already discussed this. But I realized I discussed tidbits of it, but not the whole nitty-gritty. And she asked me, when are you going to share the whole story of your fitness journey? And I said, I have. What do you mean, the whole story? And she said, well, you talk about how it started in 2019 after college, but you lost weight at one point in high school. I don't know how. I don't remember exactly when. And she's right. I did. So we're going to go back down memory lane. We're going to rewind to 2014. I was a junior in high school, 17 years old. I was very overweight. I had been overweight for most of my childhood. From at least about 8 years old, I was always the bigger kid, the fat kid. It's just an identity that was a part of me. From internally to even the people who didn't directly say it, you could tell believed it based on other things that would be said. For example, I'd never get the middle seat in a car growing up. That would be saved for the small kid. Well, it was 2014. I was 17 years old, and I went for my routine checkup. And now, like any other normal routine doctor checkup, they have you get on the scale. I had not gotten on the scale to weigh myself. I couldn't tell you when the last time was that I did, before the doctor's appointment. And I remember seeing that number on the scale. It said 185 pounds. And to me, all I saw was I am closer to 200 pounds than anything else. And I made a promise to myself. It didn't matter what I had to do. I was never, ever going to be 200 pounds. I was going to lose some weight, no matter what it took. I was also a vegetarian at the time. And I wasn't a vegetarian who understood about protein and making sure you're getting enough of it, or macros and getting nutrients from different sources. I was a 17-year-old kid who had stopped eating meat and became a vegetarian after a movie I watched and I saw how they slaughtered some animals back my freshman year. So I spent all of high school as a vegetarian. So I wasn't getting a lot of protein sources in general. Well, from this day forward, I decided I was done with what I considered quote unquote bad carbs. To me, bad carbs were potatoes, rice, pizza, any type of dessert. And now, what this meant for me and what I decided to do was I was going to only eat fruits and vegetables from this day forward. And internally, at the time, I told myself there was no issue with this. This didn't mean I had any type of eating problem, because this was not your typical eating disorder. I wasn't not eating anything, and I wasn't forcing myself to throw up what I was eating. I was just eating very, very minimal. It took me a long time to understand that was still a form of an eating disorder. And I actually even looked up the definition of eating disorder on Webster, and it says any of several psychological disorders, such as anorexia or bulimia, characterized by serious disturbances of eating behavior, which what I was doing and consuming only green beans, corn occasionally, honeydew melon, cantaloupe, watermelon, was a form of an eating disorder. But because it wasn't your traditional eating disorder or your common eating disorder, I didn't consider it one. Then, around this time as well, I signed up for Planet Fitness. It was pretty cheap for high schoolers to get a Planet Fitness membership. And now, I had never belonged to a gym at this point in my life. I hadn't really seen that type of lifestyle in my upbringing either. My Uncle Jerry was super active. He's even won bodybuilding competitions, and he was always super fit, always into the gym. But he was the exception in my family. That was not the norm of what I saw. So I only did cardio when I first joined the gym. I had never touched a dumbbell in my life. I didn't know the first thing about the weight room, weightlifting, strength training, any of that. All I knew was moving more and eating less is going to get me to be smaller. And that's all I cared about. That's it. I wanted to be smaller, and I wanted to feel like I was pretty. I didn't feel pretty. I wasn't happy with how I looked, and I didn't feel pretty. And I was determined to never feel like that, regardless of what that took. And so I would spend so much time at the gym, probably an hour of cardio at least 5 days a week. And I started to lose weight. I did. But it wasn't sustainable because of what I was doing. I probably lost about 40 pounds doing this. And I looked much better. There's no denying that. But, and I can't remember exactly how long I did this for, but I started to feel weak. Like a normal person would if you go 5 to 6 months at least with eating fruit and vegetables. Also, what I would do to sustain myself and make it seem like there was not an issue going on internally with me mentally, with my eating habits, with everything. When I was around people within my family, I would often consume something other than fruits and vegetables so that I wouldn't be questioned. Very minimal of it so that it was hardly enough to even attach to my body, but just enough that it didn't make my family question, why is Amanda only eating fruits and vegetables? Well, I'm a vegetarian, and I'm just not feeling the potatoes today. That should have been my sign that something was wrong if I wasn't comfortable sharing that. But I did that quite a few months, at least 6 months. Then summertime rolled around after my senior year. It was towards the end of my junior year that I had this doctor's appointment. And then I did that for a couple months into my senior year. And then summer came around and I moved to Rhode Island for college. I was now going to be in a dorm. I did not have my car with me because freshmen were not allowed cars. I did not have a kitchen. I had a small fridge and a microwave and a freezer, or like a micro fridge in my dorm. And I had the dining hall, unlimited meals in the dining hall. And now this almost forced me to fully transition out of that mindset and that eating behavior because I did not have any type of fruit or any type of vegetable that I wanted at my disposal as easily. So naturally, I started eating more. I started going to the dining hall. And naturally, that caused me to put back on some weight. Also, shortly into my time at college, Roger Williams, I got into a new relationship, which I did not realize at the time was a very toxic, unhealthy relationship, which would be the cause of me, partially the cause of me putting on significant more weight because I fell out of love with myself throughout that whole relationship. And then I didn't gain all of the weight back throughout college, but I gained at least 20 pounds of the 40 that I had lost back, which was very disappointing and hard for me to deal with. And I spent most of my time in college overweight and drinking away my feelings and my pain and my relationship, honestly, which I didn't realize at the time I was trying to escape, which is also interesting because a lot of my eating behaviors as a kid were from me trying to escape my feelings, escape my thoughts, and not be forced to think about them. Which, if you are numbing yourself to the point of consistently numbing yourself to forget, to not have to feel what you're feeling, not have to feel the emotions, not think about it, that's a problem. If you are on a consistent basis numbing yourself to not face the reality that you are living, there's an issue. A lot of people aren't going to want to hear this, but you can numb yourself with a lot of different things. There's a lot of things people numb themselves with. Whether it's alcohol, whether it's weed, whether it's drugs. Hell, in my case at times, it was food. You can numb yourself with a lot of things. And honestly, if you think you might be in that stage of numbing yourself, ask yourself why. What is it in your life that you are trying to escape from? What is it in your life that you are trying to not think about? Because I guarantee you, after you're done numbing, and whenever the numbness wears off, you're going to still be faced with that same reality. If nothing changes, nothing changes. Growing up, when I was attempting to escape my feelings, it was often the feelings of confusion, not knowing or understanding who I was, where I came from, not feeling like I belonged or fit in because I was very confused as to who Amanda Russo even was as a kid. And with that, I always felt a little out of place with everybody else. Fast forward to college, it became numbing myself with food and alcohol to primarily escape the reality of my relationship, to escape the thoughts that the man that I loved so, so deeply wasn't faithful to me. And while those vices, it helped me in the moment to not think about what I was thinking about, it just led to more disappointment. It didn't help with anything. And it took me a while to come to realization with all of this. I'll never forget, it was one random night in October of 2019. I was living with this boyfriend. We were living on a third floor attic apartment, and I was out of breath walking up the stairs. And I thought to myself, I'm done with this. It was that small little shift that clicked in me. I don't want to struggle just walking up 3 flights of stairs. I don't want that to be my reality. And then I said, no, I'm done with this. And that was when I found Rachel Hollis, who introduced me to the 5 to Thrive. And one of her 5 to Thrives is moving for 30 minutes every single day. So I started moving for 30 minutes every day. And when I was overweight, I started walking, going on a 30-minute walk every single day. And that also took some willpower when my boyfriend at the time wouldn't walk with me and often even discouraged me from going on the walk. Then, shortly thereafter that, I had received an email from Anytime Fitness offering me 2 free weeks of a membership. And I thought, okay, you know what? I'm going to take them up on the 2 free weeks. If I don't use the membership in these 2 weeks, I won't pay for it. No harm, no foul. I'm not out anything. Maybe I'll use it, maybe I won't. I went to the gym one day to get the fob. And when I walked in, the owner was giving me a tour, giving me the fitness consultation that they do. I saw this other trainer and a group of people doing a group workout together. They were laughing and joking around, and they were having a blast. And I said to the owner right then and there, I want to do that. What is that? Lo and behold, that was the HIIT group team training that Anytime Fitness offered. And I started doing those workouts. And that was what first got me into the gym, into using weights, using dumbbells, using a barbell, smaller group training to show me the motions. And it also helped reduce my intimidation factor, because for me, there was a little less pressure than if I was doing this one-on-one with a coach or a trainer. There were other people there. And it was so much fun. I went, I believe it was the next day, to my first team class, and I had a blast. They were mainly HIIT workouts, but there was also weights involved. And then I started doing what they called small group training, which was all weightlifting and no more than 2 or 3 people in the small group with the trainer. I loved that. It really helped me with my form, my movements. Y'all, if you saw my deadlifts before this, bro, shout out to Matt Williams, because that man has helped me from the very, very, very bottom, back when I could barely squat or deadlift or anything. But that was when I fell in love with the gym. I fell in love with working out. I fell in love with the fitness community and realizing how welcoming, how friendly, and how much majority of the people in gyms just want to help. And I started to fall in love with the whole process. I started to feel more comfortable in my own body. I started to actually be happy with what I looked like. And then I started to see some muscles, and oof, I was then a gym rat. And Matt, my trainer, Matt Williams, even helped me. We came up with a meal plan, and I followed it to a T. And it's funny, I actually came across that meal plan recently, and on the bottom of it, he had typed out, 2 bangs in a day will give you a heart attack. LOL, don't do it. Because I was drinking bangs all the time. So I did those group workouts and then the small group weightlifting classes for a while. Probably over a year and a half, pretty regularly. Then I still did them a little bit after that, much more inconsistently. And now I still randomly show up there out of the blue when they have a class, just for the hell of it, because I'm still super close with Matt. He's one of my close friends, and he still teaches there. And I see some old friends I used to know as well. But that really set the stage for me. That helped me so much. From there, I did different small workshops. I did a 6-week workshop with this woman named Amber, and that helped me more with my form as well. Then I worked with a nutritionist. I worked with her for over 2 years, and Gina was phenomenal. She will be on the podcast at some point, but she was a registered dietitian. She was my nutritionist, and she was just all around so amazing. I love that woman. And she helped me understand how nutrition is so much more than just what you eat, and how macros are so important. And as most of us know, protein is key for a lot of things. But Gina also helped me realize and fully understand that carbs are not bad for you. They help you in physical ways, in terms of your strength, in terms of your mind, your brain, what you are able to retain from memory, what you are able to learn. And she also even helped me fully understand and even see firsthand how much sleep affects every area of our life. And I've worked with 3 one-on-one coaches now. My first 2 coaches, they were pretty good, learned a lot from both of them. But I have had phenomenal success and breakthroughs with my new current coach, Lexa Roxella. And she was on the podcast, episode 28, and she has helped me so much with everything from fitness to nutrition to lifestyle to spirituality to understanding my cycle, the different phases of my cycle, and honestly, truly understanding that there is not a one way to do fitness and nutrition. There are multiple ways to achieve the same goal within that realm. And for that, Lexa, I am forever, forever appreciative of you. But yeah, my fitness journey has been an interesting experience because it was definitely also emotionally challenging in high school. While I didn't lose the weight in the healthiest way, I felt better about myself because I looked better. So when I gained some of that back in college and throughout that negative relationship, that affected me internally and mentally and my self-esteem so much. And I've also realized the power in what we say to ourselves. If you haven't heard it yet, the episode with Kimberly Kesting, we talked about and emphasized what we say to ourselves is so powerful because you are the only person you will always be with. You can never escape yourself. And Kim had said to me, the stories we don't speak out loud haunt us the most. And that's another reason I am sharing this with y'all. I have shared tidbits and a lot about my fitness journey, but not the whole backstory of my high school experience with fitness. So that being said, I figured it was time for me to do so. I also want to leave y'all with this. So many people in the world, in society, want to look better than they do currently. A lot of people do. Whether you want to be slimmer, whether you want to be more muscular, you want a flatter stomach, bigger thighs, bigger butt, muscular, more toned arms, whatever it may be. The biggest lesson and the most valuable piece of advice I can share with any of y'all on a fitness journey or trying to start a fitness journey is to just start. Everybody always asks me, how'd you lose so much weight? How'd you do this? What did you do? It doesn't matter what your first step is. A lot of people are going to disagree with me on this, but start somewhere. As someone who has spent so much of her life in all areas, not just fitness, planning it out so religiously and making sure it's perfect, making sure I have the perfect plan, that is stopping you from executing it. You're never going to have the perfect plan. There's never going to be a perfect time. You just need to do it. What are you waiting for? My famous line, y'all. You are not guaranteed to wake up tomorrow. And neither am I. So you know what? Start today. There is a step that you can do to start that process. If it's your fitness journey, go on a walk today. Get more steps. Drink more water. You want your business to be more successful? Reach out to a certain amount of leads today. Post a certain amount on your social media. There is something you can do today to get you one step closer to where you want to be. Don't spend too long planning to make your execution perfect that you prolong and stall yourself from even beginning. I'm going to say this again. Don't spend too long planning that you take too long and you stall. What are you waiting for? Just start. Thank you to the acquaintance of mine from high school who reached out to me with their question. She did not want to be named, so I'm not going to name her, but I'm glad to hear from her and be able to answer a question that if she had, somebody else likely had as well. So guys, I hope this helped y'all a little bit, give you some more background on Manders, who I am, my fitness journey, how I ended up to be the strong, muscular badass that I now am. Have not always been that. But yeah, if you guys have any questions about my fitness journey, my life, my story, anything you want me to share, want me to talk about on the podcast, shoot me a message. Like, that acquaintance of mine did, I'd love to hear from you guys. And I'd love to make Mander's Mindset more valuable for you guys. So, thanks, guys. In case no one told you today, I'm proud of you. I'm rooting for you. And you got this. As always, if you enjoyed the show, I would really appreciate it if you would leave me a 5-star rating, leave a review, and share it with anyone you think would benefit from this. And don't forget, you are only one mindset shift away from shifting your life. Thanks, guys. Until next time.